Hi, friends, and good morning. It's Sunday, the 13th of March, 2016. I'm Anna Koyman. Donald Trump is done with protesters.
We're going to take our country back from these people. We're going to take it back. These are bad, bad people.
But who is organizing these left-wing disruptors? Dr. Ben Carson, who just endorsed Donald Trump, here to react in moments.
And new details on the man who nearly tackled Donald Trump during yesterday's campaign rally in Ohio.
He's
got a checkered past, and he's being accused of having ISIS ties. More on that coming up.
Drug dogs for hire, how moms and dads are using drug dogs to snoop on their kids. Not going to believe this. Fox and Friends Hour 3 starts right now.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning, everyone, on this daylight saving weekend. We hope you're resetting your clocks this morning. Welcome into Fox and Friends. Peter Ducey in this morning for Tucker. Nice to see you,
So
Pete.
we've learned if you run for office, that's going to be your campaign
The
promise.
only platform. I will end daylight saving time. That's my whole entire platform.
Tucker would get rid of the lottery. Now I just need to come up with mine. And
let's see. Dr. Ben Carson is joining us this morning, former presidential candidate. He just came out and threw his support behind Donald Trump. Nice to see you this morning.
Hi.
Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And 1 hour time change there. We want to get your take on the things that have been unfolding over the past 3 days. Chicago, Kansas City, Dayton, Ohio. Here is some sound from Donald Trump in Kansas City last night as a rally was unfolding and protesters popping up and being escorted from the premises. Watch.
Now, here's another one. Here's another beauty. Get him out. Oh, Bernie. Bernie. It's another Bernie sign. Get out of here, Bernie. Out. That's a Bernie supporter, folks. Got the Bernie sign. Were you put in here by Bernie? Oh, would I love to run against Bernie. I got plenty of time. I mean, we're in no rush. Anybody in a rush? We're in no rush. You know what, folks? We're going to take our country back from these people. We're going to take it back. These are bad, bad people. And we're going to take our country back from these people.
So, Dr. Carson, that was Mr. Trump. Then Bernie Sanders fired back, and he said Donald Trump needs to be loud and clear and tell his supporters that violence at rallies is not what America is about. He said, look, my supporters are not inciting violence, he says, and we're not organizing this, but Donald Trump has a responsibility to talk down all of this rhetoric. What do you say to Bernie Sanders this morning?
I say that the leaders in both parties should be speaking loudly against this. We're talking about the Constitution. We're talking about the Bill of Rights. We're talking about First Amendment rights. And, you know, if you read some of the left-leaning writings of people like Saul Alinsky, you understand exactly what they're doing. This is part of their plan. And we, all of us, Democrats and Republicans, should be appalled by this. You know, there's this feeling that the ends justifies the means. And if I'm right, I can do anything I want. You see this on college campuses all over the place. And they're not really teaching them, you know, about our Constitution and about the foundation of our freedom.
Dr. Carson, do the other GOP candidates have a responsibility to defend Donald Trump? I mean, what they've been saying coming out, Kasich has said that Trump is creating a toxic environment. Marco Rubio saying that he's creating this environment that's egging them on, creating like this powder keg type of environment. Do they need to be saying that, or is that an opportunity for them to try to win and prop up their own campaigns?
The last thing we should be doing is encouraging these people who are trying to disrupt free speech. It really doesn't matter whether it's on the left or the right, although you don't really see this from the other side.
I guess what I'm asking, though, is Donald Trump, is he encouraging this environment, and should the other GOP candidates be speaking out against him, or should they be coming to his side to defend the First Amendment?
I think they should be coming to his side to defend the First Amendment. I haven't heard anything that he has said that has encouraged people to engage in violent activity or to engage in obstructing other people's rights. And the left is mad because he's standing up to them. That's what the problem is. You're supposed to submit to them and be a nice little meek lamb, and that's what they don't like.
And Dr. Carson, now that you are on the Trump team, after having a very successful campaign for a few months yourself, are you getting worried that about all this talk that at the convention, the so-called GOP D.C. establishment might try to wrestle the nomination away from Mr. Trump and just hand it to somebody else?
Well, that's the reason that I came out with my endorsement when I did, to see if we can avoid that. Because if we get to that point, it will absolutely create so much division and dissension that we will essentially hand the election over to the Democrats. And it won't just be the presidential election. It will probably affect the Senate and may even affect the House. And people have to begin to look at the big picture here. We must coalesce behind the people's choice, whoever that happens to be. If somebody else happens to turn out to be that person, we ought to coalesce behind them, but not fall for the traditional tactics of the left, who will come to you and say, you guys are wonderful, you're principled people, you won't vote for anybody that you don't agree with, and we admire you. Then they go home and laugh. We can't afford that this time, because we're talking about the future of our children.
Well, but these candidates, we heard from Marco Rubio the other night following that rally, and he said he sort of switched his position, saying that he had once before during the debate stage said he would probably align behind a GOP candidate. Now he was asked that question, and he says he didn't know anymore. Are you disheartened to hear the GOP candidates? Anna mentioned Governor Kasich saying that Donald Trump has sowed the seeds of hatred at these rallies by talking about this sort of stuff, and he's invited these sort of protests. It doesn't sound like the GOP is rallying around Donald Trump.
Well, you know, it's funny because the GOP always seems to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. No matter how good the situation looks, we find a way to mess it up. We have got to understand that this is not about us. It's not about our feelings. It's not about any individual. It's about the future of the country. It's about our children. If we can't understand it this time, I don't know if we ever will.
To Clayton's point, when somebody like Kasich or Rubio says that they might not back Donald Trump if he's the nominee, doesn't that mean that they would be backing Hillary Clinton instead?
That's exactly what it means, because it will encourage a lot of people not to vote. And when they're not voting, they're voting for the other side. That information must be disseminated to people. And you know, particularly a lot of people in the faith community, they believe that God has it all under control. But the way he controls it frequently is through us. We have to be active. We have to be informed and take responsibility.
Dr. Carson, many see this election cycle as 2016, the year of the outsider candidate. You were an outsider candidate. Donald Trump is an outsider candidate. But the two of you have very different deliveries when you're trying to get your message out. Tell us about Donald Trump, the man, your friend, the man that you endorsed.
Well, interestingly enough, you know, he is a person who is actually quite reasonable when he's, you know, off the stage. But he has a tremendous stage presence. He understands how to use the media and to use the stage effectively. And this is a time in our country where that is necessary. You know, we're at a place where we like loud, we like brash. We don't particularly identify with calm. And it's okay. I think we're moving in the right direction. We will get where we need to be. And he happens to be at the place where we are right now. That resonates. And we Republicans need to understand that, get behind it, and push it, because he's brought tremendous numbers of people into the party, people who were not involved before. He's got crossover appeal, and that's the problem with some of the other candidates. They don't have that same kind of crossover appeal, and the demographics of the country have changed very significantly. We have to change with it. And again, remember, we're talking about our future. If we get somebody in there who's a progressive leftist and they get 2 to 4 Supreme Court picks, forget about it. Our country is going to be forever changed, and not in a good way.
Math is not on the sides of Marco Rubio and Governor Kasich this morning. What do you think should happen to them after Super Tuesday 2.0?
Well, you know, I think they ought to make their own decisions. The reason that I got out is because I simply didn't see a path that was going to lead to the nomination, and what was really the point in continuing to stay there. I don't know what their thinking is, but, you know, let the process play out, and they can do whatever they want.
All right, Dr. Ben Carson, thanks for joining us this morning from beautiful, sunny Florida.